Self-Love is the New Sexy, the podcast devoted to helping you overcome life's most painful and stubborn challenges so you can feel great, have more energy, and live stress-free every day. To reach your full potential, simply work with the powerful spiritual principles that are readily accessible to everyone. It's easier than you think, and on today's show, W. Mark Watts is going to show you how starting with self-love is the key to joyously and harmoniously making that happen.
Hey everybody, it's W. Mark Watts. So I want to say hello, welcome, and thank you to everyone for hanging out with me for another episode of Self-Love is the New Sexy. And today I want to get right into the episode because it's going to be somewhat brief, but I think it's going to be powerful. So it is simply this. I was asked the question earlier today. I received a DM, and someone asked me, given their particular situation, they were starting over after a bad relationship. They were single parent. So they were asking me just, how do I get started? Where do they start? What's the next step for them? Because they went into a little bit of detail about, what had happened, and they were just really wanting a fresh start. So as I read the DM and I started thinking, I'm always thinking about, okay, what's the simplest, or what's the newest, or maybe what's a different way I could say what I've already said, because this podcast is dedicated to, really reshaping the way we think and the various ways that we can take actions to accomplish that goal, to overcome that obstacle, to start fresh. So I started to do a little bit of research and really just go through the Rolodex of my mind. And I came across a rapper, or actually he used to be a rapper, who's now more well known for his exploits in the investment world. And I think he's multitudes more successful since he kind of moved away from rapping and really moved into the investment world. And I'm listening to him speak about how he made the transition and his thoughts and his philosophies. And so it really started me to really dig into what would be my philosophy behind overcoming any obstacle, starting fresh, just creating change in your life. What have I done, and how can I really distill that down into a little acronym? Because, we all have our little acronyms, and it makes it sometimes easier to understand or easier to remember just what we're talking about. And it came to me. So I'm going to share that with you, and you can apply it or pass it on or just think about it. But the biggest thing I want you to do is really take it in and see if you can use the principles to dig into your own life to create that new start with whatever it is you're looking to create that new start with. And these are the principles that, when I think about my self-love journey, which is an ongoing journey, it never ends. It's a constant practice. And I should really say the practice of self-love is what I'm after. And that's what I hope that the listeners to this show start to really ingest and take with them, is that the self-love deal is a practice. It's a daily practice. It's a weekly practice. It's a monthly practice of how we should live and ways to really just knock it out the park and live at our highest level, be in our peak state, feel really good so that we can help other people around us feel really good. Pass it on, if you will. And my acronym is this. I call it MIE, but I spell it MIE. And now that's my creative liberty. I invite you to be as creative as you want to be with whatever things you come up with in life. This just happens to be mine. MIE, and it stands for motivation, information, and effort. Motivation, information, and effort. So when you're at the crossroads, or when you come to that point where you are being challenged, which we all are challenged consistently in multiple ways in our lives, some big, some small. How do I attack that? What do I do? What do I think about? What's my process? Like, how do I get started? When that thing happens, when that loved one passes away unexpectedly, how do you restart? When the marriage or the relationship breaks down and you've got 3 kids and maybe you lose that job, or you're having trouble connecting with your friends or your relatives. It's just totally disconnected and the relationships are bad. How do you turn that around, or what steps do you take? Where do you look? I look at me. So first off is motivation. All right, so when that thing happens, when I lost my job, when I was laid off for the first time, motivation is pretty easy to find because I got to eat. I got to make money. So the first thing you've got to do is, when that challenge arises, is what's your motivation? You've got to find the motivation. Many times it's abundantly clear. It's right there staring you in the face. So you've got to take note, write down, type into your phone, make that top of mind, think about it, ruminate on it. What's my motivation in this instance, in this endeavor? What's the fuel? What do I'm going to use to start this fire? And something that will burn for a while, that's going to help me get to that next step. So that's the first thing I do. Motivation. What's my motivation? Second thing is, what's the information I need to take some intelligent action? You know, what can I learn about this particular scenario? What can I learn about how to approach it, how other people have approached it? What can I read up on? What videos can I watch? You know, who can I talk to about this? There's information, an abundance of information available on any and every topic, every challenge, every issue, anything that you could possibly deal with. There's information out there that will help you. So that's the next pillar right there, is I got to get some information, because, you know, these things come up and you don't know how to deal with them. You know, I didn't know how to deal with being laid off, not having a job when it happened to me years ago. I'd never been in that space before. But what I did, again, I was very highly motivated and I needed some information. Okay, where can I find another job? What are the likelihood of other businesses like the business that I was in are in this city? You know, who can I connect with? Did I have any connections? You know, where is the job market going, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I had to dig into information that would help me. And then that last leg, which is oftentimes the one that really hinders us, is effort. What efforts am I willing to take consistently? And what level am I willing to ratchet that effort up to accomplish a goal, to get beyond this challenge, to get that new job, to start a new relationship, to rebuild the connection with that family member or friend, to move to another state or another country, to change my mindset, to eat differently, to work out more, you name it, whatever that is, you know, to get that new car, new house, whatever that challenge of yours is, it's going to require effort. And so it's going to require consistent effort. And many times it's going to require effort when you don't want to extend the effort. And that is the key, really, is, are you willing to extend the effort it takes to overcome that challenge when you don't want to do it? So that in and of itself is my philosophy, my overall philosophy for life, for everything that I do. And when people ask me, that's, you know, I've never really broken it down into the acronym ME, but now I will do that more consistently, simply because it's one of the simplest ways that I can think of to express it. But that's what I do. At the end of the day, when I think about it and break it down, that's what I do. I think about those principles, I apply them, and that's my gospel, my Bible, if you will. And so I invite you to examine it and try it in your life. If you're in the midst of a challenge, situation that doesn't look good, or it's tough, you're not sure how you're going to move forward or just how you're going to achieve that next level. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It could just be a challenge. How do I go from this level of success to the next level of success? I think it can all be summed up in that concept of me. So that's what I have to offer on the motivational tip. And thank you to, I'm not going to say the name, but thank you to the listener who reached out to me today and asked that question, because it really helped me condense and really come up with that concept. Because I don't ever think I've put it that succinctly, at least maybe in a long time. So I want to thank you, because it definitely helped me, and I'm hoping that it'll help someone who's listening to these episodes as well in the future. So if you've come across that challenge, you're ready to take that next step, you're ready to move forward in your life, then think about me, focus on me, MIE, find the motivation, get the information, and put forth the effort, and you'll see those results that you want to see come about. Might not be exactly when you're thinking it's going to happen, but if you consistently apply those principles, you'll see the results, and you'll move to the next step. Trust me, I've done it numerous times. I've learned and watched people who use those principles and are very successful. And I know if I can do it, then you definitely can do it, because I'm no different than any of you who listen to the show. In fact, we are more the same than you probably believe. So with that, I'm going to end. Again, thank you for hanging out with me. Reach out to me on social media or send me an email at friends@wmarkwatts.com. Let me know how things are going in your life, how you're feeling, what you're loving, what your next stage is, what your steps will be, or if you just want to say hello, we appreciate that as well. So be good, everybody. Focus on me, MIE, motivation, information, and effort, and stay tuned. I look forward to speaking with you all again very soon. Bye now.
You've been listening to Self-Love is the New Sexy with W. Mark Watts. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Also, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you listen to podcasts.